The country celebrated the 50th anniversary yesterday on the 16th of September 2025. I decided to celebrate the independence anniversary at Par Village, the home of our iconic leader, iconic Chimbu and Papua New Guinea leader, Siyambaki Oku, Sir Joseph Nombri, Police Commissioner Henry Tokam, who served as commissioner on 2 terms and was here as commissioner. And I recollected what this outstanding man always maintained with many of the leaders from the many of the leaders from the Kamanagu tribe and their forefathers. I recall the man who gave service to the Papua New Guinea, the Royal Papua New Guinea Constabulary in the likes of Mr. Tokam's father, Sergeant Major Kuman, Sergeant Tine Kawage, Sergeant Ukambane, Wam Kerouam, and all those fathers of the Chimbus who served the police force with distinction, including my father who retired with a pension. And it was said for me to come to the reality that those men who handed down the principles of integrity and fairness, and it all disappeared, and with them disappeared the ethics that they had handed down. And now we have a generation of people who had no moral compass to conduct the affairs of the people. And it was a very sad moment to realize that Papua New Guinea is disintegrated into the hands of thieves and fraudsters. And I have been calling, and I will repeat my call or reiterate my call for the Prime Minister, Honorable James Marape, from the member for Taripori, to resign as Prime Minister. Because under his rule as Prime Minister and his performance as Finance Minister under the O'Neill regime, they have colluded and conspired to raid public funds indiscriminately. And that's got to stop on this 50th anniversary. And I think I have made my call to the public that Marape should step down on yesterday, and he hasn't stood down. Now we have taken court action, and we will take more court action. But let me tell you, so-called Papua New Guineans who think and believe that Marape is a good man, this is the copy of the Connect PNG payments from 2023 to 2024, according to the Department of Works and Highways check clearance listing. And in this listing, 5 companies have featured prominently. Ipwens Construction is the #1 company, operated by the principal Moses Palipe, who is a cousin of the Prime Minister. And interestingly, he receives, and he was paid 743,158 kina, 888 toya kina, and 11 toya. 743 million, which is almost 1 billion. Now the dates and the checks are there. The first check was paid on the 11th of April 2023, and the final check was paid on the 5th of January, 2024. So Moses Palipe was a cousin of the Prime Minister, and is also a shareholder director of Cooper Limited, a company owned by Marape and Moses Palipe, was able to get paid almost 1 billion kina within 10 months for job unspecified and uncertified. The second company is Construction Oceanic Limited, owned by a businessman and wannabe politician named Sape Molume, also from the Southern Islands. And the third company is Civil Contractors Pacific Limited, owned by none other than the famous Augustine Mano, who has been serving on the MRDC board for as long as we can remember, since 2008. And is irreplaceable because he has something that nobody else has in this country. He's known for corrupting and buying politicians. Fourth on the list is Amaku and Sons Limited, owned by Jerry Angus, a typical conman who has been able to buy his way into political contracts, manipulating politicians and bureaucrats. And Alba Limited is owned by John Kayo, who was an wax engineer and has become the frontman for all consulting, as if he's a super engineer who's built any iconic structure to be remembered. But he's a highly paid consultant, and he's helped himself to a lot of money. He's been paid 50 million so far. Now, these payments were all made with the guidance and protection of none other than David Were, the longest-serving secretary of the Department of Works, from the days of Peter O'Neill until Marape, and that's almost 15 years. And he's helped himself and he's pocketed enough money. Interestingly, and Papua New Guinea knows that this idiot of a prime minister called James Marape has appointed the thief himself to account for all public monies. How do you take that? Now, Papua New Guinea, how do you take that? This is something that is unheard of. Only a mad lunatic like Marape can appoint a thief to audit himself. What I'm saying in plain language here is that David Were, Peter O'Neill, James Marape, and all those bureaucrats have colluded and conspired to defraud the state of Papua New Guinea. And they are walking around like free men when ordinary people, ordinary criminals who steal a tin fish or a tin of meat from a Chinese store are beaten up and sentenced to jail. What are we telling the people of this country? Do we have two sets of laws? We don't have two sets of laws. We have got credible evidence that the Prime Minister, the Works Minister, the former Prime Minister, and all those government ministers and members of the Parliament have colluded and conspired to help themselves. The member for Ungai Bena, who's a minister in cabinet, has got a favorable contract, just like O'Neill helped himself to a contract in West New Britain, which was never performed. So we have a bunch of thieves and fraudsters posing as leaders of this country. Now, I cannot accept that. As I said, yesterday I was at the site at Urpar in Chimbu, which is a village that has produced top leaders, men like Oku, men like Sheikh Joseph Nombri, men like Henry Tokam, Andy Shure, Bronchi Kaman, and a lot of people who had a hand in developing Papua New Guinea before independence and after independence, and if they left the mark with integrity, and have believed and had faith that we would carry that on. Now I am calling upon all you good citizens of this country to rise up and demand the resignation of the Prime Minister, when we will call on the police to arrest all those members who have conspired to defraud the state of Papua New Guinea. If we don't do it, who will do it? It's as simple as that. It's not about politics anymore. It's about the lives of Papua New Guineans. We have seen the decline of roads and bridges. There is no road in Chimbu. Here in Kundiawa, as I said, there is no water supply. Papua is on and off. Education facilities have run down. There is a chronic shortage of money. The Prime Minister is continuously borrowing so that he can channel it into the Connect PNG program. And he has recently demonstrated how idiotic he can be in driving down to Alotau on a bush track and claiming that Papua New Guinea was connected by road. And likewise, he had guys from Leh get pulled and towed up through our bush track, the Waubulolo wild track, and ended up in Mosby, and they declared that PNG was connected by road. Now that shows how stupid the guy is. Now Papua New Guineans cannot go to bed and allow a thief and a fraudster like him to continue in his office. And I am calling on all you Papua New Guineans to rise up and demand his resignation immediately. Now from here in Kundiawa, I'm going to call up the youth here for us to demonstrate and ask the Prime Minister to step down immediately. Thank you for watching me today. John Endemongo Kua, President of the People's Anti-Corruption Movement.